Hey, what's up? This is Brad with Be Real. Hey, I'm very excited today, and part of the reason I'm excited, and I didn't want to sit here and ask too many questions of them, is that I have some friends that I've known I just found out, for 16 years. John and Christy Berry, and it's just been crazy for the 16 years. It's like our lives have just seemed to interwoven. We used to work together 16 years ago. Then our kids went to school for a little while together. Then we would run into each other at the gym. I mean, I can't remember all the places. It's like, so anyway, I ran into them the other day, and they were on my heart before that, and I'll tell you why in a second. And I wanted to have them come on and talk about some of the things that they do in life and people. They're great people. And I wanted them to come on and talk about, kind of the whole premise with Be Real is kind of like just helping people, and it could be anything. And like, we talked about some of the guests that were on here. My wife was on here. My daughter was on here. We had another guy that was in a ministry that was on here. So the whole real deal of this deal is to just have that spirit of help and, people learning other people learning what other people do. So anyway, I'm super excited about it. I'm glad you guys are here. John and Christy. So tell me, I want to start with being, how long have you guys been married?
Just celebrated 19 years.
Shut up.
Yep. 3rd of February. 06.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Me and Amber and I are married 15, and I wished I'd have gone around the reception and said, I bet we're together 15 years. I'd be rich right now because everybody would have bet the under.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge blessing. And your oldest one is how old?
He's 16, almost 17.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have a 14-year-old too, don't you?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing. It just always cracks me up when you don't see people on a regular basis, and you're like, so how old's your daughter now? 10? They're like 28. You're like, what
Right.
the heck?
Right.
How did that happen? So tell me a little bit about your all story. So what John and Christy do from a professional standpoint as green country home buyers. And so I want to get them to get into a little bit of that. First, let me ask a question because I want to ask some other questions. But go into the overall premise of what your business does and what it does for people.
Sure. So as you were talking about before, we do have a passion for people, and real estate's a big part of people's lives. And so we try to come in and help solve any kind of situation somebody might have as far as selling a house quick. Maybe they're going through foreclosure or pre-foreclosure where they can't afford their house, so they might need some cash in order to move on to the next stage of their life. Maybe they have a loved one. We see this a lot now, especially with aging adults. A lot of people are moving into long-term care, whether that be assisted living or more self-care in these communities. And so they need the cash up front in order to do that. So a lot of times they have to sell their house. And these people have been living in these houses for 40, 50 years and haven't updated these things. I mean, I know you've seen grandma's houses where,
My mom.
Yes. And they're nice houses, but they just need an update, a fresh up. And so going to the traditional way with the realtor might not work. And so situations like that.
Plus, I have some family that's some realtors, love the real estate industry. But I kind of figured that out when I sold a couple of homes. Nothing against the real estate to my family.
No.
But I kind of figured out after I sold a couple homes, really the only people making money were the realtors and the closing companies.
Right.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I made some money on my last sale of my house, but it's just because I'd been in it for so long and it had a good, I just happened to sell it at a perfect time when the market was up. So
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. If you look at it, when somebody sells a house, it's like 10%, 12% of the sale of the house. Whenever you're looking at 6% in commissions, you're looking at closing costs, all the fees that are associated with it, the time on the market, whether if it's vacant, how much does a holding cost every month? So it really does add up.
But you all started, and I'm trying to think back, because you all started. Tell me how you started this, because I'll tell you why I say that. Is I was running into them. Like I said, it's been a blessing that I've run into them on occasion, but I would run into you guys at different places, and you guys would be dragging a little bit, and I'd be like, "Hey, so what's going on?" And you both were in there physically remodeling homes personally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So tell me the beginning. So how did the business start?
Yeah. So
I didn't mean to laugh when y'all were looking a little. Y'all wore ass out. I'm like, I'm leaving work in a suit and tie. No, I'm just kidding.
I think anybody that's got little kids, because we were starting whenever we had little kids. I mean, we had some real estate business done before the kids, some aspect of it before that, but we really didn't get involved in real estate until we had kids. And you really kind of start to see why you need to start getting out there more, and you're less self-centered when you start to become a family person. So that being said, we had started buying houses 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. We started doing live-in flips.
Okay, that's what I remember. You were flipping houses.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we were still doing it personally for a while there, even after just the live-in flips. Tell them what live-in flips means. That means you're personally living there. Yes.
While under construction.
Which, if you're newly married, you probably
don't do it.
Yes.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Because I mean, what this really means is you're going in there and you're going to be living in a construction site, and so you might have a kitchen where all you have is a makeshift table with a single burner, and you're doing dishes out of your sink in the bathroom.
Those are the stories I love to hear, because everybody sees, where you're at now, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do what you're doing, or if I had $1 for every time somebody said that they were gonna have my job, I'd be rich right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, because they didn't see that it took 30 years to get to that point. So anyway, so you started live-in flips.
Yeah, get back to your point though. I mean, HGTV, people see this where they can flip a house in 30 minutes. It looks darn sexy on HGTV.
And the couples don't fight, and there's no arguments.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
World.
They edit all that out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we had full-time jobs. I was in the IT industry. Christy was in a furniture store doing deliveries, and like I said,
cashiering too. Weren't you a cashier for a while too?
I think I did about everything with
cashiers,
the sales floor.
yeah. Cashiers, deliveries, customer service. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so little kids, and we just were really struggling having ends meet because it's expensive having kids. Yeah. And so we're like, okay, what are we going to do? We were about $500 a month negative when I did the balance sheet of our family finances. So I was like, okay, we got to change something here. And late at night, we're watching the TV, and one of those infomercials comes on for a get-rich-quick real estate gurus coming to town, come for free, and that leads to the $500 next event, to the $2,000 next event, to the $5,000 next event, to on and on and on. And so we really got into that heavily, spent a ton of money, and didn't do a deal from it. And so backs against the wall, I'm like, I do not give up. So I'm like, we know what we're doing. Everything I just learned from this last guru, I probably could have learned from a $20 book on Amazon. But here we are. So what are we going to do? So really just took a reassessment. God places people in your life. Yep. So an old friend, an acquaintance, reached out, and he's like, tell me what you're doing. I was telling him about the real estate. I was telling him about real estate, but I really wasn't doing it that much. So he's like, why aren't you doing it this way? And so he re-sparked and invigorated a new way of doing things that was creative financing. And so this was back in the market whenever it wasn't doing too well. So the traditional way of selling on the MLS with the realtor, it wasn't working that great. So I was reintroduced into lease-to-own, owner finance, and these type of creative deals that were working and really helping out families leave their house and new people getting in without having to have the traditional banks involved. And so now we started doing that, and we started making money. And so just revamped and then kind of went different direction, and it was off to the races after that.
Isn't that crazy? And it's to me, it seems like in my life when the storm kind of gets really, really intense, it's like God just pushes his face through the clouds. It's just like, you're still there. I got you, you know. I had that experience when I was going through this transition. I really bring people on my podcast too so I can talk more about myself because that's what I like to talk about. No, I'm just kidding. But I was in Universal Studios right after that transition happened, and I didn't want my family to know I was freaking out because, you know, of what was going on. And we were going into Universal Studios, and we hit this really busy area, you know, and I kind of was stressed out a little bit about Amber and Avery, and so I pulled them closer to me, and I have never heard a verbal word from God in my life, but out of nowhere I felt the presence of him going, Brad, that's what I'm doing with you now. You're in a sticky situation, and I'm actually pulling you closer to me. You know, because you get into those situations and you feel like he's further away, but it's the exact opposite. You know, it's like your kids. If they're into a difficult situation, you're not going to drop them off at the mall and
See you later.
and leave town. You know,
Right.
Anyway, that's cool. I'm glad you shared that with us. I want to ask some more questions. So, what is your main role at the biz?
My role is, so he basically brings the deals in. We'll go over them together and see what our strategy will be on that. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that just gets to go in and make the houses pretty.
We need that.
Hey, there is nothing wrong with that. I'm telling you, people ask me all the time, you know, especially when I'm in the corporate setting and I'm really, really hustling, spinning a lot of plates. They're like, what's your wife do? And I go, you ever been to the circus? I go, do you ever watch that guy following the elephant with the shovel?
Oh, no.
No, I'm saying my wife. I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but
there's
a lot of messes behind me. I'm telling you, I'm moving fast enough that there's going to be. So cool. So then you go in and do all of the so do you both collaborate together? I'm sure when you're doing these houses, you're not getting any crazy colors or whatever, but you're picking colors and paints and carpets and all that other stuff. Which that's, believe it or not, but your eyes buy it first, and then you figure out if you can afford it. So
that's the other side. I do. He kind of runs the numbers and saying, hey, this is what I think your budget should be, and then I'll go and run some numbers and see where we are and for what we can do on the property, and then I go through and pick everything out, and then he'll kind of come through and we'll go through it together for what the actual game plan will be of how the house is going to come out and look in the end.
And I didn't clear this before, so if you're not comfortable, like, give me an idea, like, how many houses you sold last year.
Last year?
Just roughly.
No. That's fine. I'll tell you, it's very few because we took about a year of us time. And so,
good for you.
Yeah.
No, that's great for you. That's
no, we
like
did
this transition with me. It's not been, you know, I would rather it didn't happen to me. But looking back, it's been amazing. I mean, I'll give you one. Like, somebody asked my Charlie, my 25-year-old. She still works for the company I used to work for, and they said, "How's your dad doing?" And she goes, "I understand what you're asking me. You're asking me as my dad found a job." She goes, "But I really don't care." She goes, "It's the first time in 25 years I have a dad."
Oh, wow.
Because you become so consumed.
Right.
That's the word I keep using when I was, you know, in that other position. You become consumed, and you can lose very quickly. Even with Avery, I've kind of had a revelation again about, you know, because once they get 16, then they get a car, and it's almost like they're your roommate.
100%.
Then they're 18, you know, you see them less and less. So I got this time now where she's 14, she's there, she still thinks we're cool. She still thinks, you know, still wants to watch movies with us, still wants to go out and shoot baskets with us. That's important.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We still did, I think, play 6 or 7 houses. But I mean, before at the very beginning, that would have been a lot. But for now, that's not doing a whole lot for us. So during COVID is when we were really blowing and going. So, unfortunate for most people during COVID. I thought it was going to be a negative for us as well. But business-wise and family-wise, I think it was a benefit too, because we were all in and just immersed with each other more. But business-wise, we were doing like up to 4 or 5 deals a month.
See, COVID. I think a lot, and like you said, it was a terrible. Some businesses had to shutter the doors, but the businesses that were in the sweet spot probably had their biggest years they ever had. I mean, the people were selling cars and boats and furniture and any remodel companies doing deck work, companies. I mean, any of that stuff was just exploding, exploding. So people were really starting to realize, and there was a blessing behind COVID. I think many people can look back and see it now, hopefully. I don't know where they are now in their life, but hopefully they can look back and see it as a blessing. But it really, I think, drew people closer to family. And we get a lot of people that were coming in from California and these other places that could barely afford a home to begin with, much less one that had a yard and everything else. So we saw a big influx of people coming in from everywhere, and a lot of people wanted land out in the country, and so we just saw a huge shift in what people were looking for. I understand COVID, a lot of people lost their lives, so I don't want to come off flippant in any means. But at the same time, I remember some of the positives of it. Like, I went in to Walmart right in the heat of COVID, because Walmart's the safest place to not get any germs. But so I went into Walmart and I was going back to the automotive area, and I looked over and every bike was gone and every board game was wiped off the walls. Oh, wow. Because people couldn't go anywhere. They were sick of TV. So, and like when my son and he was with us at the time, he and I would walk every night. And like every other house, they were sitting out in the driveway, hanging out and talking to their neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I understand COVID was a terrible deal, but at the same time, there was a lot of things that came out of that were.
Yeah, I think you have to look at the positive of it. I mean, just if you focus on what was not right, but what did you get from it?
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do to keep your sanity. And it pushed it kind of moved the hockey puck down the road a lot further. Like, think of I didn't mean to get off on this weird stuff, but that's what we end up doing. But you think of stuff like Uber Eats. It wouldn't be where it is now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All this pickup orders and Uber Eats, and it just kind of changed the way. Yeah. And I don't think everybody should sit in front of the TV 8 hours a day, but I can't tell you how many situations I'm in, social situations I'm in, where the conversation starts about binge watching. Binge watching wasn't even a deal until COVID. Yeah. And you listen to these people watching all these shows, and I'm like, I got attention issues. Okay, so tell me, what do you guys like? What's going to happen this year with you all?
Yeah, so I really got reinvigorated probably early December. There's only so much that I can sit around and do stuff as well. And don't get me wrong, we had some really good family time. Took the camper around and had some great vacations, but I was ready to get at it again. So revamped the website, started getting some ads back out there, and so we're really starting to get in a lot of lead flow now, where we looked at 3 houses in 2 days, and then got another lead as we were coming in here. So and have some houses under agreement now. We'll probably get back to where I was COVID level if I want to get that busy, or I might start delegating and kind of build the business up to where I don't have to be doing a lot of that stuff myself.
And when you say that, you're going to get like a plan of succession as far as a successor, somebody that can do more of what you're doing?
Yeah, so when it comes to the going and look at the properties, majority of the time we like to go together because families do like to see us together come in. And I'll go do it myself if I need to, but a lot of times we will. So a successor might be having an acquisitionist, which is somebody that's going to go out there and take a look at the house, assess it, make an evaluation of what we can offer, and really help walk the client all the way through the closing table. That's what my role is a lot right now.
Okay. And so that would free you up so you guys can go be the face of the company. Yes. And go run more leads down and
yes,
generate more on the front end of things.
Right.
And or referrals or trying to gain referrals.
Yeah, do things like this. Be the face of the business, like you said, steer the ship, and don't. I still enjoy, so I'd probably still go out and just do the face to face because I do enjoy sitting down with the people and seeing what we can do.
So tell me, this is not the end, but tell me a little bit about this.
Yeah, so we were really blessed to come across a publicist of ours.
And you can say any name you want to.
Okay.
This isn't like an infomercial, but at the same time, if you got something to talk about, I want you to talk about it.
Yeah. So T.C. Bradley is somebody we came across. Let me back up. Whenever we were really getting into real estate again, had some mentors, and that's John and Stephanie Iannotti. And during their events, they bring in other people that can help your business out, and T.C. Bradley was one of them. And so what T.C. comes in and helps people do is get out there, get known, publish books. He helped us publish a couple of them here. Elite Real Estate Leaders and Real Estate Investor Success.
She looks way better than you.
Well, that's...
I'm kidding. Like, I walk in a room, and they'll look at me, and then they look at my wife, and then they look at me, and they look at my wife. I'm like, yeah, it's my wife. Sure is.
Yeah.
So no, tell me more about the book. I'm sorry to be a
No.
He put the book down. He goes, dang, he's right.
I didn't need you guys looking at her anymore there. So no, just really blessed. We came across some great people in our life, like TC, that's helped us publicize the book. He got us on his a video show called God Made Millionaire, and so. Yeah, just wrote a book. The first one, the one that was Elite Real Estate Leaders. Elite Real Estate Leaders. We did that. The first one that.
And what does that all entail?
So,
where do you get this?
Amazon. You can go to Amazon.
Okay. Elite Real Estate Leaders.
Yes.
And tell me what does this help people with?
So that really delves into our story, where we came from, and what we're doing, and then. That's pretty much that book. So if somebody wants to get into who we are, what we're doing, and how we do it, it's that book. We co-authored both these with some other people in the book, so it's going to be several stories from other like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And the second book that we did, Real Estate Investors Success, we did that one as more of a question and answer type session with our publicist, and he really outlined. I'm starting to like that one more than the first one, because it really outlines more of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and kind of vision and things like that.
The how-to.
Yeah, yeah. So
that's amazing. But then too, that's kind of crazy. But that's how people are blessed. You're actually helping other people to become successful at actually what you're doing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, I'm telling you, they have this mindset that I got to keep all that I possibly can, and like if I share any of this stuff, somehow that's going to negatively affect me, which is the exact opposite of what's going to happen. The more people you help, the more you're blessed, period. It's no matter what, it's always been the case.
I don't know how many times people have said, I love what you do. Can I sit down and buy you a cup of coffee? And yeah, sure. Why not? I do want them to realize that I'm not going to be able to train you in real estate in 30 minutes. Yeah. But I can give you a good idea of like, hey, this is what you really need to expect. And what you're getting involved in. If you really want to do this, this is what's going to happen.
Have you thought about doing any like paying people to coach them?
Yeah.
Or paying people to mentor them?
I've done that in the past already. I had groups of people that I helped mentor across the nation before. I've also done one-on-one training. I really still enjoy the face-to-face with the clients at the end of the day, but helping somebody else get out of their own way and get the business down is beneficial for me as well.
Yeah. And, I mean, we believe it or not, I mean, even during this transition, my wife and I, we really like spending time together. And you can tell, I mean, I'm joking, but you can tell you guys do too. I mean, you enjoy the time together and being able to work together. And seriously, I mean, yeah. He's looking at her like, he's like, I do, but I don't know about this over here.
I was waiting for a response over here.
No.
One morning I woke up during this transition and she was being funny. But I mean, it's early and I'm making coffee and I've been home for a while and my wife had gone out and started my car. And I'm sitting there making coffee and I go, why is my car running? She's like, you got to go. Go where? She goes, I don't care. And then she went out and turned the car off. But I was like, my humor only goes so far, you know. But the reason I asked that about that coaching deal is I kind of delved into a little bit of that. There's some cats doing really, really, really well. You know, you get 10 people that are paying you $10,000 a month or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they have to do a lot of work to help to change the culture within those businesses. It's a lot of work. It's almost like, in my opinion, it's almost harder to coach a business to change directions than it is to start a new business, because there's bad habits that are cultivated into that deal. But so it's a lot of work. I'm not saying it's not, and it's a lot of follow-up work, and it's a lot of notes and all that stuff. But I mean, there's cats sitting at home, and they travel to locations and stuff, and they're making. That's what's one of the eye-opening things, because I worked for a company for 30 years. It was really interesting to get out and meet people that were providing for their families in a very different way, like podcasts, social media, coaching. I can't even remember all of the things that people were doing. And, you know, one morning I realized I became that guy, because I was walking in to meet another friend of mine, and, you know, I'm like in Adidas pants and Adidas t-shirt, and out walks all these guys in suits and ties, because they got to rush back to work. And I'm like, oh my God, I've become that guy. Because I would come out of those places eating breakfast, and here comes this sucker in tennis shoes and Adidas pants, and I'm like, what the hell do these people do that he's rolling in here out of a Benz, happy as he can be, ain't a care in the world, going to eat breakfast at 9 a.m. I'm like, they're doing it, and they're loving it, you know. So anyway, what else is the future? What else do you guys want to do? Are you thinking of anything else?
As far as real estate wise,
life
in general. I mean, my three things I'm loving right now is family, real estate, and pickleball. So
like ate up with it. You too?
Yeah, I go and play too.
I can't believe how many people. I've only played a little bit, but I can't. I don't want to say I can't believe, but there's something about that sport that when people start playing it, it's like very few people don't want to do it a lot. Like I've got a cousin, we've got neighbors that put a court in down the street. We have another really, really good friend that was moving in from up by around Grand Lake, and the main focus of the house was big enough area to put like a pickleball court in the back. Yeah, I've got another cousin in Ohio. They have a friend that has like a mechanic shop, and they figured out that in the dead of winter, they pulled all the cars out and would put pickleball up on the weekend, and he painted it on the floor. I mean, it's great, low impact. It's exciting. It's great exercise.
Yeah.
It's competitive.
Yes.
Keeps your head. Plus, you get to whack the crap out of that ball.
That's the fun part.
So, like, how often are you guys playing a week?
I'm playing more often than Christy. I'm probably 4, 5, 6 times a week.
Yeah.
Last time I saw Christy, I'm not like busting her up because I love her, but she was at the gym. She said, I came to meet a friend, and I watched her. She never even got on a machine.
Because I was already done.
Oh, whatever. She goes, all right, man. She's come to support her friend. Her friend's just hustling, man, sweat. Christy's over there like on Facebook or something. I don't know what she was doing.
Don't give out my secrets, man. Come on.
Hey, I want to ask one or two more questions, and they're not like to put you on the spot or whatever, but I really enjoyed visiting with you guys, and I knew this before, and I'm telling you, God really laid you guys on my heart just because we kept running across each other. I see on social media. I've seen these on social media. I didn't know that much about it, so that's part of been a blessing out of these podcasts that I actually kind of sit here and get to know people better, you know, because you're in this situation where there's no distractions, there's, you know, no phones going off or anything, and you really sit there and kind of communicate with people. So this is, I've never even asked it, but I got kind of laid on my heart because you guys are such. So looking back when you get closer to the end of your career or whatever, what are some things you would like for people to recall about you or say about what you guys did during your lives? You don't have to rush. It's a weird question.
Yeah. You want me to go first or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And then you think.
Yeah, anytime.
That guy really did care. I mean, I really do care at the end of the day. Whenever I say I'm going to buy someone's house, it's on my heart, and I don't like to lose sleep, and sometimes I will just to make sure things go correctly for somebody. And so whenever I say I'm going to do something, I want people to take me at my word. And so that's the same thing I'm wanting Christy and my boys and everybody else to see is I can trust this person. And that means more to me probably because you can make a lot of money, but to have a good name, a background behind it, that means more to me.
Yeah. You know, there's a saying, or I've said it so many times, maybe I originate. I really don't know on this one. But it is the difference between you feeling manipulated and persuaded by what I'm saying and how either you're going to feel manipulated and persuaded or that I'm helping you.
Right.
Is actually the intent of my heart. So basically what that says is I can basically almost say anything I want to you as long as it's in a way that I really am trying to help you. I really, in my heart, it's not I want to sell you something. It's not I'm trying to, manipulate you in any way. I really, truthfully just want to be of help. I want to be of service. I want to, because like I said, I found out earlier on, the more people that I helped and the more I focused on my giving, I didn't have to worry about my getting,
Right.
There's just it's philosophically, spiritually impossible for you to help a lot of people and for money not to come your way,
100%.
Yeah. Okay. Just tell me about you.
That's the same thing. It's like if you're out there and you're doing the right thing for people, then everything else will just fall in line too. And that's if you're always there and they do know your heart, that you are really there to help them, whether it's helping someone with their house or just my big thing is family. So everybody, like your family, right? 16 years we've been around each other.
Yeah.
So, that's considered family too.
Yeah.
And just always know that the heart is pure and we want to help people, whether clients,
Would you say
family,
the same
friends.
thing? Because I was sitting there while you were talking. I was listening, by the way. But while you were talking, would you just say the same thing? Like when your kids look back on their lives with you, what is one thing different than what I asked my other friend? What is one thing that when somebody says, later on in life when they move out and they've got their own lives and somebody says, hey, how was your mom and dad? Or what was your mom and dad like? What do you hope they say?
I hope they say and know from the bottom of their heart that we were always there no matter what, and that they can always come back to us and no matter what the circumstance, and know that they were always truly loved so that they can be able to pour that love into other people. Yeah.
That's a great answer. And what about you?
Supposed to top that?
No, that's a tough one. You ain't got to. Yeah. She should have just dropped the mic right then, literally, and just walked out of the room. It's been crazy as the kids have gotten older. I went through a recovery phase in my life, and part of the recovery phase was that you either call people and say I forgive you, or you call people and ask for forgiveness, and it was an absolute game changer. And you just make this list of all these people. And you literally go down the list, and if people are, not still here, then you sit there and pray or whatever you want to do to, forgive them or ask for forgiveness. And I got to my kids, and I started calling them because I wasn't having an opportunity to have a face-to-face with them. But I was like, hey, I just want to apologize because, there was times Dad was an idiot. And like every one of them, I got about halfway through my speech, and they're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Dad. You're the greatest dad ever. And, and I had a drinking problem, so I couldn't have been the greatest dad ever. But I realized then, people say that parents have unconditional love for kids. And I do believe that to a degree, but I believe personally that kids top our love, because their love for us is way beyond unconditional. That they, I mean, yes, everybody makes mistakes, and I'm sure at some point in time my kids are going to need a therapist or whatever. But really, as far as I mean, in my opinion, the people that I've come around and been around and talked to, like kids are. It's just unconditional. They just love you for you, and I have noticed too, as they've gotten older, there's those phases that they go through, but like it's cool to have such a wide range of kids at my house. So I have a 33-year-old and a 13-year-old, and when the 33-year-old who's out there in the world and is experiencing the world head on comes back into the house to the kid that's got everything done for him, and mom's running water and food up to her room and all that, and she's like, hey bro, it ain't gonna be like this forever.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you one more cool one, that my oldest one, when my daughter was younger, 4 or 5 or 6 years old, whoever came in the house, she would run to him and jump up to him and catch him and all that. And my oldest one is pretty, Alicia Sharp. She was just hugging Avery, and she looked at all of us and she goes, she's not going to do this forever. And I was like, oh snap, and I had a friend one time tell me he had older kids, and I said, hey Andy, what's the absolute favorite year of your kid's life? And he said, wherever they're at today.
Exactly.
So you're not going to get it, And I was at this place eating lunch, and they had this big slogan up there, and it said, if you knew today was the last day you were going to get to play this game, how hard would you play? And I was like, oh snap.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Well guys, I really have enjoyed you guys being here. It's been a blessing. I appreciate it. And I like I said, the thing I've kind of got out of these podcasts too is, I like to talk, but I really love sitting and learning more about people. And we, even though our paths have crossed a bunch in the last 16 years, I would say we have not sat down and talked for 45 minutes that whole period. Right. So we've actually doubled the amount we know about each other in this short period of time. So and I know you guys are super busy. A time is a gift that you can give to people that they can't return back. So I want to really appreciate you guys for your time and coming in and sharing with people. I really feel like there's people out there that needed to hear it. So thank you guys very much.
Thanks, Brad.
Hey guys, go have a great day. Be real. Hey, don't forget to hit that deal of BeRealWithBrad.com. Drop in there, hit something on my calendar. If you'd like to talk more, let me know.